guys, it's Katie here with Life Mundane, and today we're going to be talking about how you can organize all about math, any of the levels, although I am going to show you specifically with level 1, but these should be general principles that will apply. So let's get started. First, let me say I have actually done a video similar to this when it comes to how to organize all about reading or all about spelling. And with both of those curriculums, I was kind of a pro at it. I have been using the all about reading and all about spelling curriculum now for over a decade, and so I felt very confident in all of the things I was going to share with you guys in that video. All About Math is brand spanking new. So with that, I'm going to show with you guys how I decided to organize it, and then I am also going to show you some alternatives that you might consider or choose, and you pick what's best for you in your particular circumstances. So when you first get your All About Math curriculum, it's going to come with 3 main components: your teacher's book, you're going to have your student packet, and then you are going to have your math manipulatives. Now, you'll get the math manipulatives kit if you don't already have those items around your house. If so, you can piece those items together, but the nice thing about getting the kit is it all comes in one container and one box. And I'm going to break down for you guys what I did for each of those 3 components. First up, for the teacher's book, I went and got it spiral bound. You guys know, if you've watched my channel for a while, that I love to spiral bind my teacher's books. It is hugely helpful for me in my homeschool. It just makes it so much easier, especially when you've got a big book like this, to be able to just fold it over flat and keep your place easily. So I take it to Office Depot. If you are an HSLDA member, you can go online to their members perks section. You can sign up for the Office Depot rewards through their website, and then you can utilize that code that they give you on the Office Depot app to get these at like 50% off the services, not everything, but off binding services and printing services, which makes it really incredibly affordable to do. So I went and did that, but even if you don't have that discount, it's still not that bad to get it spiral bound and well worth it. When it comes to the student materials, I did very similar to what I do for All About Reading and All About Spelling, and that is that I went ahead and prepped all of the different lessons within the binder that I use for the other one. So if you guys don't know this, when you are sorting or organizing your curriculum with these binders, All About Reading actually has free covers and spines that you can get on their website and print out. So all you have to do is print this out and then just slide it in the front cover of your binder to make it really look nice and to have the spine on the edge. So if you've got several binders in a row, you can easily find the level you're looking for. Now, if you decide to go with this binder organization method, all you're going to need is your student book. You're going to need scissors, a 3-inch binder. I did try it in a 2-inch and it did not fit. So a 3-inch binder. You're gonna need some page protectors. I recommend getting ones that are a little bit more heavy duty. I'll link to my favorites down in the description below. This time I used some from Staples because we had them left over from something that people had given us, and those worked great, although those are a little bit more expensive. Amazon actually has their own brand that is heavier duty that we've used in the past that I absolutely love, and they're very affordable. When you open up the student book, you're gonna notice that all of the pages in here are perforated, so it makes it very easy for you to be able to just tear out the different pages. You can give yourself a little more stability by holding on to the top as you're grabbing it. You're going to hold onto the top of the page as you pull on the other page. If as you get into the book, it ever gives you a little bit of resistance or gives you a little bit of trouble, try just like personally handheld tearing the little top corner, and then usually it will pull out just fine. You don't really have that many issues when it comes to that. In the very front cover, you're going to find this amazing sheet that is going to give all the different concepts that you're going to learn in All About Math. It has a place for you to record what date you started that concept, when they began to master it, and a place for notes and things. With this, I pulled this out, and I'm actually gonna put this in my teacher notebook so I can keep track of it all year long, and it'll go finally into my record keeping at the end of the year so I can record all the things that we covered and when we started it and when we completed it. The very first thing I do is I go through and I tear out all of the sheets and I stack them by lesson. You'll see in the top and bottom right corner of the page the lesson number. I love that they do this for every single piece of paper. It is so incredibly helpful. So I just start pulling out the sheets and I will stack all of lesson 1 facing one direction, then all lesson 2 facing the other, and then keep alternating that till I have pulled out all of the sheets. After I do that, I will then turn it over. So I'm starting on the top because I want to start with one in case I can't get through it all in one day. And that way I make sure I'm going in sequential order, and I'm going to start cutting out the pieces. Now, you could do this in a whole bunch of ways. First of all, you could prep none of this. This is not designed where it has to be prepped ahead of time. You could just pull out the lesson you need the day that you're ready to sit down and do that lesson. However, for me, the need to go find scissors or even just that little bit of prep time is a time that I lose my kiddos, especially my ADHD ones. And so it just finds it really helpful. It's just way more helpful for me to have it all prepped at one time. I just put on a chick flick or a movie or whatever, watch that while I'm prepping. So it just makes it very, very simple. So I start going through each of those lessons and I start cutting out any of the pieces. I then take those pieces, and you can do it a couple of different ways. I have in the past just dumped pieces into the pouch, and that works just fine unless someone turns your notebook upside down, which can happen. But I've also started doing paper clips on top of just paper clipping the different pieces together, and I throw them in there. One thing I thought about after I did it this time is that I could actually paper clip some of them to the top and then drop some in, because when you just drop them in the bottom, it makes the bottom of your binder fairly wide. It doesn't really bother me, so I'm not going to go back and redo it, but if I was doing it again, I might choose to pick a few of the pieces to put on the top or alternate. Lesson 1, I'm just going to drop it in. Lesson 2, I'm going to paper clip it to the top, so that way the weight of the binder is a little bit better distributed and it takes up less space on your shelf. Again, just a little bonus tip of someone who's done it. And with this, then I just slide the pages in that are needed, and I slide the pieces in, and then I put it in the binder. Now, I continued this process for all 60 lessons, but a few little lessons that you may want to be aware of is there were 2 lessons that had very tiny pieces. I am talking teeny, 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 tiny pieces. I did paper clip these, but I'm actually planning to go back and either put them in an envelope. I found these like coin envelopes at Dollar Tree that I think I'm gonna just pop them in and close that up and put it inside so that I don't lose these little tiny pieces. Or I might put a small snack size Ziploc bag and throw it in there. Either way, just something to keep in mind. It was just 2 lessons, 20 and 21 for All About Math 1 that had the tiny pieces, but just something that you might want to be aware of if you're gonna go ahead and prep it in advance. If you're new to the All About Learning family, welcome. And when it comes to what you should cut and when, a couple of things to keep in mind. If it is a dotted line, typically it's going to need to be cut, but you're going to want to look for the little scissor symbol on the corner to know if you're going to cut it. There are a few exceptions to this rule where there is dotted lines but no scissors, so typically that means you are not going to cut there. And there is one lesson in the All About Math where you have buckets in front of an elephant, and in front of the bucket is dotted lines. With that, all you're going to do is fold over the page where the buckets or where the line is, and you're just going to cut along the edge there. It's going to make a nice slit because this is where you're going to actually put the different cards as you're going through this process. Now, you don't have to do that. If you don't want to do that extra step, you can just have the kids place them on top of the different buckets, and that works just fine too. I've done it both ways in the past. Also in that student book is a progress chart and stickers. So I place that in the front pocket of my binder, and then there's a completion certificate that I place in the back pocket. Again, you could store these in a different place. You could hang them up if you'd like, or store them in a teacher binder if you'd rather keep them kind of away from the other kid things, but that is just something else to keep in mind. But it really does great to just have this all together. The way I've been doing it with my daughter when it comes to All About Spelling and All About Reading is I will actually just pull out whatever sheets for whatever lessons we're going to cover for this particular week, and I put them in her binder where she has multiple subjects in one binder, and she has a tab for each of the subjects. So if she had one for math, then I would put behind it maybe 3 lessons or 4 lessons, again, depending on pacing and how we're handling it. I would put a couple of these sheet protectors behind it so that we're ready to go for those lessons. Then at the end of the week, I put it back in here and we'd be ready to go. Other years, I have just pulled it from here when we needed it. So it's just totally up to you and how it works best for you and your family. Now, in the student packet, in addition to the actual book, are a few cardstock printables. So with those, you're going to, again, perforated, you're going to pull them apart. You can easily fold them over. If you guys don't know this trick, you can do multiple at a time as long as they're, of course, the same perforation on each page. So for instance, there are flashcards that go from 1 to 100. So you can fold those. Fold it one way, fold it the opposite way, and then it pulls apart very, very easily. As far as how I chose to store that, well, that gets into what I did with manipulatives as well. So let me show you. As I mentioned before, All About Math provides this awesome bucket for their manipulatives. And when the manipulatives come in here, they come all in Ziploc bags. That is fantastic, and you could definitely just leave it like that. No need to do any additional preparation. However, I know that in my house, when it comes to Ziploc bags, they're gonna get torn and then the pieces are gonna be everywhere and then they're gonna get lost, and that's just the way it goes in a big family. So because of that, I decided to kind of take it an extra step. I love to get these picture keepers. You can get them in a big set that comes with its own box at like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or even Amazon, or you can buy just the boxes separately, at least at Hobby Lobby, I know. So anyways, I like to get these to store my math manipulatives in. And so I tried it 2 different ways, and I'm gonna show you some footage of both. But basically, I tried storing the different manipulatives in these boxes, and I was able to fit almost all of the pieces in these kinds of boxes. All the ones blocks fit in a box. One box was the perfect amount for the amount of counting bears that they provided. I put all of those perforated flashcards right here in the box. I could do 3 nice little stacks. If you wanted to, you could rubber band or paper clip them if you want to keep them in a particular order. But again, it works really great for that. Dot flashcards right there in a box. Things like the snap together cube things, I can't remember what they're called, sorry, but I had to put them in a couple of boxes. I had to put them in 3 boxes, but they're still able to go in a box. The counters went in a box, and these are the fraction tiles which went in a box, except level 1. So the whole number was too long for the box, but I'm not worried about losing this piece because it's fairly large. And then all of the base 10 blocks also fit, but they fit in 2 boxes. With this storage solution, it leaves room in the back for you to put the thousands and the 100 blocks back here, and everything fits really nicely. What I like about these containers is that I can see what's needed for the lesson. I can just grab that container and take it with us on the go. I don't always have to pull out the big bucket and like dig through it as much. But it does take up a little bit more space, so you could definitely keep the bags that were already in there. Or another solution that wouldn't take up as much room is to simply take a pencil pouch, to take like the 99-cent pencil pouches that you get back to school season, ones like these, and use these to hold the different math manipulatives, and then those could fit in there well. The nice thing about something like this is, again, grab and go really easily. It's a little more sturdy than a Ziploc bag, and you could hypothetically pull out what you're gonna need supplement-wise for the lessons, at least at the beginning, and put it in a binder if you wanted to, since they have a hole punch. It's up to you. I like having it all in the box. I might go to the pencil pouches, but right now I'm really liking the different boxes for them. It just makes it a little sturdier and keeps things from getting bent up or damaged. Another thing I tried and ultimately decided against, but I still wanted to show you in case it's helpful, is this is the carrying case that those little boxes can fit into. And so I did try just putting the things in the carrying case, sticking it in here, and then you can take it on the go. If you guys have seen my previous videos, you've probably seen that I've done math manipulatives like this in the past. However, because the hundreds and thousands blocks didn't fit in here, I tried kind of finagling it in there, but since it didn't really fit in there, I thought it's probably better to keep it all together. But you could always keep those in a separate spot if you wanted to and keep everything else in here. And then what I did is I taped one of these Velcro folders on the front so that you can easily pull out all of the reference charts and base 10 charts that this curriculum comes with. Because I decided not to go that route, I ended up just pulling it off. The great part is it didn't bend anything up. Everything is still perfectly preserved. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking the sleeve that they provide, I'm taking the packet of the different charts, and I'm just setting it right on top of the box, and it's all perfectly in one spot. So when we go to do math, we can easily grab out this box and then their one sleeve for their lesson and the teacher book, and we're ready to go. I would love to know down in the comments, how are you organizing your All About Math? What are the things that you found to be really helpful? And if you want to learn more about All About Math and what all is included, check out this video here.